This was a big state funeral for Islam Karimov. A whole generation of Uzbeks had never known any other leader. 27 years, 2 of them under Soviet Union control, the rest an independent state for 25 years. This was a dignified service, which was in contrast to the run-up to the announcement of his death. So many delays on Friday when no one was sure what was really going to happen. Invitations to this funeral were going out to world leaders without his death having been actually announced. And so now the 78-year-old leader is laid to rest, and all along the road leading there to this service, there were scenes of emotion. People who really regarded this man as the father of the nation, despite what was an appalling human rights record. He'd been pilloried by many human rights organizations, and not only that, the European Union and the United States as well. But somehow he almost always used to manage the books, the power scales between the US, Russia and China. He managed his way through, often very ruthlessly. Now he leaves really a legacy of harsh regime and also vicious clampdowns on any form of dissent. But the question is whether or not there's a vacuum now, and there is a lot at stake in terms of who replaces him. It's thought there will be an election. It probably won't be free and fair because any opposition is illegal, and this is the moment, really, the crossroads for this country in terms of who will be the next leader.
Well, staying with that story, the former British ambassador to Uzbekistan is Craig Murray. He says Karimov's repressive leadership was similar to that found in North Korea.
Cotton is a major export, as it was during Soviet times, and during the cotton harvest, literally millions of people, including children as young as 7 and 8, are forced into the cotton fields to pick cotton for months on end. They have to give up whatever their job is, the schools are emptied, the universities are emptied, and it's back-breaking, grueling labour in the cotton fields. I also witnessed people who'd been tortured, witnessed their injuries, spoke to them, spoke to the widows of people who'd been murdered by the security services. As I say, it's an extremely repressive regime. Certainly if Mirziyoyev does take over, which most people believe is what will happen, nothing will change. Mirziyoyev is really a thug. If anything, he's even more brutal than Karimov, but also less intelligent and less sophisticated than Karimov. And really, he wouldn't know how to change anything. And he has no experience outside of Uzbekistan, no interest in other ways of doing things. So we will have more of the same, I think, if Mirziyoyev stays in power. It's worth saying that the system is in a certain degree of crisis. In recent years, it's been extremely dependent on remittances from Uzbeks working in Russia. But because of the decline in energy prices, that's fallen from about $5 billion a year to about $1.5 billion a year, and that was the biggest single source of income to the country. Cotton prices are also down, gas prices are also down. So how sustainable the system is an interesting question.